There is much more ahead on Eyewitness News this evening. Up next, classmates reaching out. Young friends of a missing New Jersey boy give support to his family, a little boy who vanished at a carnival without a trace. Also, it may be hard to believe, but bright light may be just the thing you need to help you overcome insomnia. Dr. Jay Athersberg has details. Plus, the feds have tough new cable regulations to control rising costs, but some people in our area won't be helped. All this and more coming up on Eyewitness News.
This is Channel 7 Eyewitness News with Greg Hurst, Roz Abrams, Sam Champion with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast, and the Eyewitness News team. Now, Eyewitness News.
Good evening again at 5:30. Here's a look at our top stories. A last-minute reprieve for dozens of homeless facing a sweep this afternoon. People living under the West Side Highway were supposed to get out today so construction work can begin on the highway. But advocates for the homeless got them a last-minute reprieve that gives them until tomorrow afternoon to move. Police are under fire tonight for letting a sex abuse suspect go free for 3 weeks. Clifton Matthews was charged with kidnapping and sexually abusing a young boy. But when he was originally questioned last month, police said they released him because they didn't think he was a suspect in the case.
Here is the big story we're following at 5:30. The disappearance of Timothy Wiltsey, the little boy who vanished without a trace 3 weeks ago tomorrow in New Jersey. The hunt for clues has been discouraging, but this evening prosecutors say they may have a lead. Sarah Wallace is at police headquarters in Sayreville right now with a live report. Sarah, what's up?
Well, Greg, as you said, the Essex County prosecutor who is overseeing this case with the Sayreville Police Department told us late today that, quote, the investigation is now intensifying. And he added that we are focusing on information that we hope will lead us to a suspect. The prosecutor declined to be any more specific than that, but he did emphasize the amount of money now in Timmy's reward fund, obviously hoping that may be an incentive for more people to come forward. That amount now totals $22,000. Timmy's classmates today added their own contributions to the reward fund with money they've raised. Carrying a symbolic check worth $725.90, Timmy's fellow kindergartners at St. Mary's Elementary School walked over today to deliver the money to Timmy's family in South Amboy.
I think it's sad, and I really want him to come back, because it just doesn't feel right without him here.
Fighting back tears, Timmy's grandmother accepted the check. The boy's mother, Michelle Lizinski, did not come outside.
On behalf of Timothy and Michelle, I want to thank everybody for their support, their prayers, and their understanding. But don't forget, Timmy is out there somewhere. Michelle couldn't do this today. It was just too much.
5-year-old Timmy disappeared from a carnival in a Sayreville park after his mother claimed she had turned her head briefly to buy a soda. Eyewitness News has learned that yesterday, Michelle Lizinski was questioned for several hours at State Police headquarters in Trenton by authorities. A lot of people are saying that she is a prime suspect. Is that true?
Everybody that was in that park on May 25th between the hours of 6 and 8 o'clock in the evening is a suspect at this point.
Meanwhile, late this afternoon on a tip, detectives aided by volunteers searched this wooded area at the end of Stevens Avenue in South Amboy. The tip came from Long Island psychic John Monty, who 2 weeks ago offered visions that so far have not panned out.
What did he say specifically?
That he saw of the boy's body, and it was in a wooded area in the area of Jeffco Corporation.
This building here?
Right, which is this building here.
Has this been checked before?
This area, not to my knowledge, no, this hasn't been searched.
Well, so far that search has not proved to find anything, but as we said, the Middlesex County prosecutor believes that there may be some developments in this case upcoming. Don't be surprised if there are those developments by sometime next week. Reporting live from Sayreville, New Jersey, Sarah Wallace, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Well, coming up, police in Florida had an unusual situation on their hands, a standoff with a student in the State House, and he made some of the strangest demands while holed up inside.
Plus, a crackdown on cable operators regulating how much you pay. But thousands of subscribers in our area will find themselves tuned out. That story next on Eyewitness News. A tense standoff in Tallahassee, Florida is over tonight. A Florida State University student held police at bay for more than 5 hours. Marshall Ledbetter held one hostage in a state office building demanding liquor and jelly donuts. Police say Ledbetter has a history of mental
He
problems.
basically is a young man who's very concerned about what's going on in the world and the hunger and poverty that he sees, and he wanted some way to say to the world that he wanted it to be better.
Ledbetter surrendered to police peacefully. State office workers were sent home for the day. In West Palm Beach, the pretrial posturing has begun in the Kennedy scandal rape case. The prosecution argued against a gag order requested by the attorneys for William Kennedy Smith. Smith's attorneys also asked that the charges be dismissed because of what they called prosecutors' misconduct, making it impossible for Smith to get a fair trial. Smith's trial for the alleged rape at the Kennedy compound in Palm Beach begins August 5th. We all know that Smith's uncle, President Kennedy, was assassinated. Now a question of murder is being raised about the death of Zachary Taylor, our 12th president. Richard Greathouse, a Louisville coroner, has received permission to open the tomb of President Taylor, whose grave is in Louisville. Taylor died suddenly in 1850, just 16 months after taking office. The history books say it was a gastrointestinal illness. Greathouse believes President Taylor was poisoned because of his anti-slavery position. The coroner is hoping to find enough hair, bone, or nail to test for arsenic. If it was poison, then it was Taylor and not Abraham Lincoln, who was the first American president to be assassinated.
Well, time now to take a look at what's coming up on Eyewitness News at 6. Let's go to Bill Butel in the newsroom.
Thank you, Diana, very much. Coming up at 6 on Eyewitness News, a day of hope became a day of despair at a church here in New York City. The day after the church raised the most money it would see in a year, the unthinkable happened. Also at 6, the prices you pay for most everything in New York City could be going up. A new increase in the sales tax is proposed. We'll tell you how much it would be, what would be affected, and one thing that could cost you less. And we're going to introduce you to the 82-year-old woman who has a passion for her art and for her life. She travels 4 hours every day to go to school, and today was a very special day at school for her. We'll tell you why. All this and a good deal more coming up on Eyewitness News at 6. I hope we'll see you then. Now back to the studios, Greg and Diana.
Thanks, Bill. Cable TV rates seem to keep going up and up. Where will they end? Well, some local governments may get a chance to lower those cable bills, but most New Yorkers won't benefit from the new federal ruling. Art McFarland explains why.
Since cities like New York have so many viewers and there is so much competition, the FCC decided to take a hands-off policy on the price of cable service in the major urban areas. Some cable subscribers feel that is a mistake.
I've been subscribing for 2 years and I've seen an increase already. I think until the FCC, until they are regulated, the price is going to go sky high.
There are no cable price controls here and no real pattern for pricing. For instance, Manhattan Cable TV charges a basic monthly service fee of $14.95. The installation charge is $39.95. But BQ Cable, serving Brooklyn and Queens, charges $23.45 for its basic monthly service and $9.95 for installation.
It comes as no surprise that cable companies don't want anyone telling them what they can charge for their service. But we spoke with one cable executive who says regulating the companies would be bad news for cable subscribers.
There won't be as many technological advances in the future, and there won't be as creative programming in the future if our rates are regulated.
The FCC rules also continue to exempt premium channels like Cinemax from price regulations. Some cable companies have already shifted what used to be basic cable programming to premium services, and there are those who feel cable companies have more to answer for than just their prices.
There are lots of service complaints about these cable companies and many other complaints, and we're really not in a position to do anything about it, and we're stuck with them, and it is a monopoly.
There is legislation pending in both the House and Senate that would impose regulations on most, if not all, cable companies. But for now, the big city cable outlets can charge whatever their customers will pay. In Midtown Manhattan, Art McFarland, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
The new rules allowing some local governments to regulate cable rates take effect in 90 days.
Up next, saving a life. A New Jersey congressman may be able to give the gift of life to a young boy in the Midwest with a bone marrow transplant. We'll tell you all about it.
And shedding a little light on insomnia. And as strange as it may sound, that could be the perfect cure for it. 1 out of 3 people say they have trouble sleeping. Dr. Jay Adlersberg has the details next.
Congressman Jim Saxon of New Jersey is a tireless campaigner for the National Registry of Bone Marrow, the vital material transplanted to save leukemia victims. But little did he know that he himself might have the gift of life for a 5-year-old boy. The Republican congressman from Burlington County has devoted much of his time to pointing out how difficult it is to find bone marrow types that match. But now he's learned that his own marrow may be a match for a little boy in the Midwest who's dying of leukemia.
I was very excited. I never thought, there's a 1 in 20,000 chance that someone will be compatible with yourself. And so I never thought when I was tissue type that I would ever have the opportunity to do this.
Last week, 16 vials of Saxon's blood were drawn for marrow test. 5 out of 6 characteristics matched the boy's blood. Further testing is necessary, but Congressman Saxon says he hopes it's a go.
For many of us, getting our brain to stop going 100 miles a minute so that we can slow down and get some sleep is difficult. More than 1 in 3 Americans say that this happens to them occasionally. They suffer from insomnia. But as Dr. Jay Adlersberg tells us now on 7 on Call, we might be able to get some help just by sitting out in the sun. Good idea.
That's right, Diana. Exposure to the sun causes biochemical changes in the brain region, which controls our circadian rhythms. Circadian rhythms are our 24-hour cycles of hormone activity, sometimes called the internal clock. Doctors are now using bright sunlight and artificial light to reset that clock and help insomniacs get some sleep.
I get up at 7 every morning, 7 days a week, and I go out and sit in the sun.
Dick Miller helps wife Barbara with her jewelry-making business. He's also controlling his insomnia.
His body clock was delayed. He couldn't get to sleep till late in the night, early morning, and then he couldn't get up till noon. So part of his treatment involved regularizing his circadian rhythms by the use of bright light, in his case, sunlight.
It works so quick and so good that I'd give up a lot of things before I'd give that up.
It's like I have a new husband, and we've been together 28 years.
Some people can get the bright light therapy by going out into the sun at the right time. If that's not possible, then we can prescribe special bright light boxes that can be put on a desk or on a kitchen table to supply the eye with enough light that it mimics the sun.
Dr. Posada says insomnia is one of the most difficult sleep disorders to diagnose.
If a person is having persistent trouble sleeping for, say, over a month, they might seek help for that. If a person has resorted to taking sleeping pills and cannot go to sleep without the sleeping pills, then they should probably get help.
Some causes of insomnia are medical illness and psychological problems such as depression or stress. Here's something I bet you didn't know. The amount of sleep you need is inherited. 90% of people need 7 to 9 hours a night. It's rare for someone to get by with as little as 6 hours sleep or to need as many as 10 hours. Diana, Greg.
10 is too much.
10 might be too much for most.
These bright lights help keep us awake.
Keep you awake all night long, man.
Okay, thank you very much. We got Father's Day coming up this Sunday. Sam Champion has our AccuWeather 5-day forecast. Let us know how the weather's going to be.
Plus, are you ready to have tons of fun? All that and more next in the Eyewitness Newsroom.
A look now at people in the news this evening. Singer Julio Iglesias has made one lucky lady the talk of the town. The international superstar was at New York's newest nightclub, the Amazon, to serenade the winner of a radio promotion.
For helping me to grow, I am a Latino. To all the girls I love you so.
The contest was sponsored by radio station Z100. And it was no contest on where the in place to be was last night. Celebrities including Christy Brinkley and Ashford and Simpson turned out for a benefit screening of the new movie Robin Hood. Also on hand was movie co-star Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. Proceeds from the night went to the Robin Hood Foundation, which funds programs for the poor. Quite appropriate.
Yeah. Anyone who doesn't want to see Robin Hood, I'm looking forward to that one coming up.
It'll be okay.
Yeah.
So how's our weekend shaping up
We
here,
got a
pal?
father here ready for Father's Day.
That's the important thing. Sunday and Father's Day, probably the more humid day of the two, but it should still hold out pretty good.
And
we're
it's
looking
my
for
day,
That's right, and it's Dad's Day after all. But we're looking for a pretty good weekend generally. So look for about 64 degrees to start it out with early in the morning, 56 to 58 toward the island. Inland numbers will stay a little bit cooler, 51 to 58 degrees. The humidity isn't quite up really high yet tomorrow. It collects during the day tomorrow, so 60 degrees, Jersey shoreline in the morning, and toward Darien about 59 degrees. Not really uncomfortable numbers. This is the way it shapes up during the day. High pressure should still keep us fairly clear skies tomorrow. Good amounts of sunshine, but you'll notice during the day as that high leaves the shoreline, steps off into the Atlantic, that the air that it pushes into the area will be a little bit more humid by midday and include a few more clouds. There'll be some scattered moments of clouds moving through, but generally I think you'll see there's a good amount of sunshine out there. It will be very warm tomorrow at about 82 degrees. We'll take a quick look at the satellite animation just to show you what's been going on over the last, well, 20 hours in our neighborhood and show you that high pressure is still doing a pretty good job outside. Skies were not as clear today as they were yesterday. It's allowing a few clouds to get in, and that's generally the trend over the weekend. Tomorrow, a few clouds, then by Sunday, more and more clouds and more humidity till I think by Sunday afternoon, evening hours, you'll probably see an afternoon thunder shower. AccuWeather 5-day outlook, just to put it in type for you. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the forecast days, 88, 92, 90, 90, and 92, with, again, we think the next time you'll see a thunder shower will probably be Saturday afternoon or evening, Sunday afternoon or evening.
Well, enjoy your weekend.
With Father's Day, are we going to see a new tie on Monday?
What do you think?
Probably. As long as it's not one of those clip-ons, honey, okay? Well, brace yourself for the biggest ballerinas you'll ever see, some baby baldies who are going to wing it, and a star-spangled salute to Flag Day. Take a look at today's newsreel. So they'll never make it to the Bolshoi, and Baryshnikov they ain't. But don't bother to tell these ballerinas they're having too much fun to care. They're sumo wrestlers doing their thing at the annual costume festival in Tokyo. In a country known for decorum, you gotta admit, it's too much. Baby eaglets, Hope and Desert Storm may look fragile, but they're about to take wing for the wilds. The rare birds are the first born in captivity in Tennessee's history, and have spent their young lives picking up survival skills from the pros. Today, they leave the nest, and Newsreel wishes them all the best. Call it the daughter of celebrations. Nothing on the scale of Monday's parade, but every bit as heartfelt. These little troopers from PS 88 in Queens hoofed it and sang in a salute to community residents who served in the Persian Gulf. Old Glory never looked more glorious than unfurled above the George Washington Bridge. The world's largest flag measures 60 by 90 feet and weighs nearly 500 pounds. A wonderful sight as you head out for the weekend. And speaking of the weekend, so long and enjoy it from the Eyewitness Newsreel. Maybe that flag's now the second largest, with the one in Washington, about 2 acres. Anyway, well, up next, a couple of trees grow in Pelham, and an old tree with a rich history it is.
And a young tree with a bright future. Chauncey Howell has that story coming up next on Eyewitness News.
Man's best friend may soon be a subway rider's best friend, too. We'll tell you why the transit police are looking for a few good dogs and how they plan to use them to make your subway ride safer. At 6 on Eyewitness News, right here on Channel 7.
Jeopardy! 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 Everyone's saying it.
America's playing it.
Let's play the first round. Presidents for 400. The only president buried in Illinois.
Jose Blinken.
Correct.
Jeopardy!
Double Jeopardy coming up, folks.
Tune in for trivia.
Ribbon of high-speed winds, 20,000 to 40,000 feet up.
What is a tornado?
No.
What is a cyclone?
No.
It's guaranteed to tease.
Referring to the jet stream.
Now's the time to challenge your mind.
What on earth is that?
Play Jeopardy! Tonight at 7, right here on Channel 7.
Before Japan and the United States fought in World War II, a Japanese businessman gave some lovely cherry trees to a school in Pelham Manor in Lower Westchester County. His son was a student there. When the war broke out, though, they both went back to Japan. But the trees remain. And today, to celebrate the return of our troops from the Gulf, the school kids added another tree. Chauncey Howell was there.
Now, these are the 5th grade boys of the Prospect Hill School in Pelham Manor. These are the 5th grade girls. They never, ever eat lunch together because they are at that age. You know what I mean?
Right. Combo looks great. So you're the guys that raised the money for the cherry tree?
Yeah.
We had pizza sales. We sold ice cream.
Yeah? What about the girls? Did they help?
No.
What do you mean they didn't help?
They didn't help at all. We helped you.
Well, whoever did it, the boys or the girls, is a beautiful tree, isn't it? It's wonderful. No, not that tree. That's a giant oak. I mean, that one, that little cherry. The kids planted that little cherry to celebrate the return of our troops from the Gulf. Prospect Hills has other cherry trees, though, Japanese cherry trees, given in 1941 by a Japanese businessman whose son attended the school before the war.
After the war, he sent us a letter concerned about the trees. It says, I was so happy to learn that even a single child in the school had no ill feelings toward the Japanese cherry trees.
Who could hate a tree?
They're still here today.
Well, there was funny feelings those years.
You remember how in World War I they renamed sauerkraut, German sauerkraut, Liberty cabbage?
I certainly do. I never forget those years.
By the way, I have a poem. We have a poem from Caroline Raftapulp in the 4th grade.
As the sun awakens and dawn overcomes night, a baby sapling waits to blossom some cherries.
Great. Wasn't that great? Caroline Raftapulp, the sweet singer of the 4th grade. Have a cherry, Caroline. Now, let's see if the 5th grade can do as well in the cherry poetry department.
Pretty good.
Go.
Cherry tree blossoms flow swiftly through the air as the morning breeze blows over Japan.
That was good.
Cherries have a wonderful smell to them. Oh, no.
Good.
Early in the morning, on the cherry tree leaves.
What?
The raindrop on the leaves glisten its way up the leaves.
Beautiful.
Okay, as you gaze into the beautiful cherry tree, it makes your heart feel good. That's very nice.
Wasn't that good? Wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Simple and direct.
Bellissimo.
Wow. Isn't it amazing? You speak other languages here in Pelham.
Many feet. C'est bon.
Years and years of practice. Well, it's Eyewitness News at 5 o'clock. Thanks for tuning in. The weekend is here. Go out and enjoy it. For Diana Williams, Sam Champion, and the rest of the Eyewitness News team, I'm Greg Hurst.
And have a happy Father's Day. The Eyewitness News at 6 is next with Bill Butel.
Thank you, Diana and Greg. Tonight, dreams of helping the needy turn to a nightmare. One day after a church in New York City raises the most money it will have in a year, the unthinkable happens. And the price of almost everything you buy in New York City could be going up pretty soon, with a big exception. Details on a proposed increase in the city sales tax. Also, you might see more four-legged creatures riding underground. We're going to tell you why a man's best friend may become a subway rider's best friend. Plus, meet the 82-year-old woman who doesn't think she's too old to learn, an artist who travels 4 hours a day to school. And this is a very special day for her. Those stories and a good deal more at 6 on Eyewitness News.